What are the essentials of the gospel, and how is the resurrection related to the gospel?
Okay, tough question. A lot of people don't think in these terms, but what if we started and said, let's think of two sides of the gospel. The one is an historical question. We've said a lot about that. It's an historical question. Did it happen? If there are certain things that are essential, did it happen? The second question is, am I committed to it? And I like to use the words I do. Now let's use both of those illustrations. Let's use a marriage illustration. Usually it's normal for a couple to go through a dating, quote-unquote, courting period. And during that time, you get to know a person pretty well. Well, in a way, that's history. Because, some people date for years. Some people were friends for a long time before they got married. It could go 10, 15 years. I knew my wife for 15 years before we got married. That's history. So as you know a person more and you begin to appreciate them, you remember incidents that show that they don't lie. They're trustworthy. They have a really neat personality, a likable sense of humor. And yet, when you say I do, you don't say I do to kind, factual, honest, works hard. You don't say I do to qualities. You say I do to a person who has qualities. Commitment is done to a person. Well, the gospel's not so different. There's a factual side. Now, I'm not dating Jesus. I didn't know him 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, but I can study history, so that's a history question. But what do I know about Jesus? Well, he claimed to be the Son of God. He claimed, there's probably at least 8 things he claimed that no other religious founder ever claimed. I mean, just to give one, it might surprise people to know that no founder of a major world religion, Buddha, Confucius, Lao Tzu of Taoism, Zoroaster of Zoroastrianism, Muhammad, Moses, Daniel, David, no founder or co-founder of a major world religion ever said, I'm the Son of God, or I'm Lord, or, I'm going to sit on the right hand of God. Now, somebody could say, this is pretty obscure, but maybe the best known Hindu source is Krishna. Some could say, well, Krishna is called Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, but there are really serious historical problems here. For example, the earliest copy of the Bhagavad Gita, which we have, is 4,200 years after Krishna is supposed to have lived. Okay, 2 things about that. A lot of things can happen to a document in 4,200 years. And secondly, most Hindu scholars, I'm told, I have a source for this, a Hindu source. Most Hindu scholars say Krishna never lived. It's like saying Davy Crockett, who did live in American history, but we say Davy Crockett grinned a bear to death. We tell little stories like that. George Washington threw a silver dollar across the Potomac River. We say things about historical people that didn't occur, and sometimes that person never lived. Hercules did this, and we have a cartoon. Okay, well, we want to know whether those things happen or not. And you say, well, so what about Krishna? Because you say, well, people believe Jesus never lived. Right. The people who say Jesus never lived are, with almost no exceptions, I'm citing Bart Ehrman, the atheist New Testament scholar, atheist. He says there are no professors of religion, Christianity, theology, New Testament, of the thousands who teach in accredited colleges, universities, and seminaries. He said, to my knowledge, none believe Jesus didn't live. So you say, well, you said that about Hindus. Right, because I cited a Hindu scholar who said Krishna probably never lived. So that's like the only one who's close on this one, and it's a real problem. But whether he lived and how long the source is afterwards. So really, we don't have anybody who claimed to be the Son of God. That's special. All right, so there's things about Jesus that are history. And whenever the gospel defines what you have to believe, what things you have to say when you say I do to Jesus, what things about him are crucial. Three things are there very crucially. Number one, I just mentioned it, he's deity. He's Son of God. He's Lord. At least he claimed that. Number two, he died. Paul says in a very early reference, 1 Corinthians 15, it's not even Paul's, he cited it, I delivered unto you that which I also received, how Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, was buried, rose again the third day according to the Scriptures, and appeared. So, he claimed to be the Son of God. He died for our sins, this creed says. He was raised and he appeared. All right, those are facts about Jesus that we can check out and either believe or not believe. Deity, death, resurrection. But now the second question is, just like marriage, do you say I do to Jesus? Are you ready to say I do to Jesus? Well, I don't know. I can't even see him. No. Are you going to make a commitment to a person who claims to be alive today, the data say he's alive today? Are you willing to say I do? And of course, I do means better or worse, richer or poor, sickness and health till death do we part. It means it's a lifestyle. We're not talking good works. We're talking a commitment. You don't say I got married by good works. You say I got married because I made a commitment. That's what you do with the Jesus. The New Testament words for belief, pistuo, pistis, the New Testament words mean to be committed to. So that's the two sides. He did some important things, deity, death, resurrection, most important. And are you willing to say I do to Jesus?